It is amazing to be standing here today before all of you, and also live streaming to our global audience who are watching as well, and to launch this Emergency 2.0 Wiki, which is a free global resource for using social media and new technologies in emergencies. And I'm really thrilled to be here, launching it here at this Gov2 Queensland event to celebrate initiatives in this state, because this is where it all began. And when I stood before this group earlier this year to propose the vision for this wiki, our impetus was to leverage the learnings from the use of social media during the Queensland floods and Cyclone Yasi that devastated our state. And in that time, since that time, we've also witnessed unprecedented disasters all across this globe, and we also saw that information saves lives. Information is power, and in an emergency, every second counts. So thanks to the instant amplifying power of social media and our networks, we can all play a role in saving our own lives and the lives of others. The key really is knowing how. So our vision was to create a resource that would help build stronger, more resilient communities in preparation for the next summer season of floods, cyclones and bushfires, and for our northern neighbours for the winter season of blizzards and snowstorms. And now, thanks to the support of the Wiki working group that came out of that's a Gov2 Queensland group, and the support of hundreds of people all over the world in all their different ways that they've made contributions, volunteering their time, we now have this resource. Now I'm going to quickly walk you through it. So welcome to the Emergency 2.0 Wiki. First up, I'm going to start with the global directory. So the wonderful thing about this global directory is that wherever you are in the world, you'll be able to access the Twitter and Facebook accounts of emergency agencies that are using social media, and this list is growing all the time. The other thing is that NGOs and volunteer agencies such as the Red Cross, you'll be able to also access their Twitter accounts. The one that we all love, the big crowd pleaser at the moment, is the smartphone apps. So we're going to have this directory of all the emergency apps that are being developed, and there's new ones coming online all the time from all around the world. So for two reasons. One is so that wherever you are, you can find a smartphone app and download it. But secondly, it's all about innovation and sharing ideas and collaborating, and a lot of the government agencies that are developing these apps are sharing the source code. So this means that, particularly in the case of those countries that are developing and those agencies that don't have a great deal of money and time, these apps are going to, we're going to fast stream doing that. So here are some apps. This one's hot off the press. As we know, bushfires are a big issue for us here in Australia. So the CFA Fire Ready app has come out in Victoria, and there's also the Fires Near Me app in New South Wales, and that's come out on Android and also iPhone. So you can get a sense of all the different apps that you can have, and some other ones that come out that you also need to be aware of are, during an emergency, the Red Cross will usually produces an app that has evacuation centres. So again, and you can also, there are apps where you can press a panic button and it will send a message geolocated exactly where you are, which is quite important for certainly in the case of people who are trapped in buildings after earthquakes. So yes, there's a whole world of apps coming online as we speak, and they're all going to be captured here. So that's something that we're really, really excited about. All right, so as you can see, the wiki itself is divided into 3 sections: preparing for an emergency, during an emergency, and after an emergency, because obviously your needs and also how you use social media changes according to what state of the emergency we're all in. So the tips for the public, so we start off with tips for the public, and then we have specific guidelines for agencies. So we'll just take you through with the tips for the public. This is all about how to prepare for an emergency. So just starting with the basics of how to learn to use Twitter and YouTube and the apps, how you can use the apps, just introducing you to the sorts of things that you can access. And then of course we link to the global directory as well. Also we talk about YouTube videos, and the time to learn how to sandbag your home is not when the floodwaters are rising, generally. If you can kind of, get onto that YouTube video now, that's good. And then, of course, so with our, we've also got obviously a section on YouTube videos, and we're collecting them for each disaster. So how to plan for a hurricane, how to plan for a tsunami, and so on. So we've also got readiness quizzes, and this is our very own volunteering Queensland's emergency quiz. The other thing that we talk the public through, or walk the public through, is the importance of finding maps of how to find maps of hazards in your area. And again, that's one of the things that you really want to be doing before the emergency, so that you know what the hazards are, and most importantly your evacuation route home from work to the school to pick up the kids or whatever. So we also showcase Green Cross Australia's hazards map. We have family preparedness tips. So again, really basic tips that I guess we all know how to how to talk to our friends on Facebook, but do we know do we use our Facebook notes page for our emergency plan, for instance? And do we know how to plan evacuation routes of centres and so on? And so we've got all of that. Twitter, Facebook, again, how do you use Facebook in an emergency? How do you find a real-time community map? What does it look like? How do you use it? One of the most important things too is how to help share that information. How do you do that? And for instance, with Twitter, if you're going to send a message, there are some things that you need to think about as well. Obviously, make sure you're safe first. But the sort of things that you need to think about is make sure you put the time on there, and also make sure you that your phone has GPS enabled, so that what that does is it makes it much easier for emergency agencies and media to pick up on your message and trust it. Okay, it's verified. Okay, yes, we can see that. And better still, take a photo, and again, a geocoded photo. So again, that way you're helping the emergency services do their job, as well as the media to get the message out. And by doing that, you're helping to save lives. So there we go. So that's our preparedness. And then if we go to during an emergency, again, it's basically all of that, but very streamlined. And the thing that I need to mention here is that we have optimised the wiki so that you can access it on your mobile phone. So wherever you are, you can access the tips, all of this site. So, rightio. So I guess the key thing during an emergency, again, is this is a really important one, and it's easy to read on your phone, and that is how to save battery power on your mobile phone. We've all got these, well, many of us have these fantastic phones with apps and so on, and they chew through battery power like no tomorrow. So when your phone is your lifeline, that's it. When there's no power and you're stuck somewhere, you need to know how to keep this phone going so that you can call for help, so that you can contact your family and whatever. So these tips will tell you how to turn the backlight off and how to close your background apps and all of those things. And we actually tested it during Hurricane Irene, and we tweeted a lot of these tips and sent people to visit this site. We were kind of testing it then, and a lot of people, we got great feedback saying we love it, thank you so much. So that's a big winner that we're excited about. And then after an emergency, the big focus here is, again, how do you find accurate information, and how do you share information to help others. So, rightio. So that's the tips for the public. So in terms of the guidelines, what we've done is we have developed guidelines that cover all the things that you would need to think about as an organisation if you're going to use social media and in emergency situations, both for business continuity and also to interact with your stakeholders and keep your customers up to date with what's going on and your staff. So we have policies and procedures, we have risk and mitigation checklists, very comprehensive, because as we know, using social media is risky for business and government and emergency agencies indeed, and so it's a matter of understanding that there are ways that you can mitigate those risks. And we've partnered with the Risk Management Institute of Australasia are peer reviewing our risk and mitigation strategies, and we also have on the reference group that Professor Alan Noble, who wrote the cyber security guidelines for the US government. So he's come on board and he's going to keep a watching brief on the Wiki. So as new technologies come on board, he's going to check it out from that cyber security perspective. So that's awesome. Right, so the other thing, I guess, to talk you through is establishing social media channels. So this section is all about, as an agency, whether you're an emergency agency or a government agency, a community agency or a business, we walk you through how you can use all of these tools for business continuity and for sharing information. So we cover Facebook and broadcasting, Twitter, YouTube, Yammer. Yammer's really important from the business continuity perspective, and again we've got the Business Continuity Institute of Australasia leading the content for that section. So yes, Skype, Google+, it's all there. So don't ever sit there and scratch your head and think it's too hard, because it's not. We've got tips to walk you through, and we have got the best minds from around the world, from all different sectors of industry, from emergency agencies, from business, from the ICT sector, from the community and academia. All the best minds have come together to create this site. So, all right. I'd just like to finish by saying thank you. Yeah, just a massive thank you really to the Wiki Working Group, to Gov2 Queensland, to all the reference group members, and to the hundreds of people all over the world who in all their different ways, whether they were sending us tips or sharing messages or uploading information to the Wiki, just a massive thank you, and this is your Wiki. Use it.
Well done.